What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm doing a review on Bumblebee in 3D here. Yes, that's right, Bumblebee. The company based out of Germany that I've mentioned a few times, Turbine, they made this their number 7 3D Blu-ray release. And yeah, I'm just going to go over what I thought of the 3D effects. But first, let's just take a look at the tech specs here. So it's 1:78 widescreen, so this will fill up your whole TV screen. That's nice. And it has a Dolby Atmos surround soundtrack that is very loud, very bassy. Wouldn't expect anything less from Paramount. And the runtime is 1 hour and 54 minutes. So in case you haven't seen this movie, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about Bumblebee. So the beginning of the movie takes place on Cybertron, and the Autobots are losing. Optimus Prime sends Bumblebee to Earth to establish a base. He's followed, and this is his origin story. He can't talk, as you know, so this explains that, how he got his vocal box ripped out. And yeah, while he's on Earth, he comes into possession, or I should say, a young lady comes into possession of him, because he's transformed into a little Volkswagen Bug. Shortly, she finds out that he is, in fact, an Autobot, and that's what the movie is really about. It's about this young girl struggling with life problems, and Bumblebee, who's struggling with his memory and, you know, other problems as well, and they become friends. And in the background, there are 2 Decepticons that have tracked him to Earth that are looking for him. So that's what the movie is about. If you're expecting a whole lot of action, it's definitely not like the Michael Bay Transformers movies that came before, and some people would say that that's a refreshing reboot. I liked the Michael Bay movies. It's my guilty pleasure, I'm sorry, but I also really liked this too. It's in a whole class of its own. So anyway, about the 3D. So it's definitely not the strongest out of the Transformers movies, but it is very good. The first 2 chapters and the last chapter in the movie being the best. The first 2 chapters takes place on Cybertron, and the scene with the battle on Cybertron is probably just as good, if not better, as the Cybertron scene in the Transformers Dark of the Moon movie, which was also in 3D. Both are really good, but I want to say I like this one a little bit more because of the bigger picture due to the 1:78 widescreen, and it seems like there are a lot more pop-outs too. Brilliant depth. There are times when you feel like you're on like a virtual reality headset and you're just along for the ride. And you got scenes where there are multiple aircrafts that some of them are kind of popping outside of the screen while some of them are a little bit pushed further back, and you just follow them on their joyride. And there's a few scenes where some of the Autobots or Decepticons, I can't remember which ones, bust out their hand cannons, and it looks like it's kind of protruding out of the screen a little bit. That whole scene is fantastic. The second chapter, that's when we're introduced to John Cena, I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember his name in the movie, but his character was enjoyable, though. My favorite part in the movie was when he tells his superiors in the military, I mean, Decepticons, that's what they call themselves? That doesn't put up any red flags? It's like, go figure, this guy's the smartest dude in the movie. So anyway, that scene where he meets Bumblebee for the first time is pretty spectacular. The army's chasing Bumblebee, and they chase him to like the edge of this mountain, and he comes in on his Humvee, and he's got like this harpoon looking thing that he points at Bumblebee, and that's kind of popping off the screen a little bit. It doesn't come out at you, it doesn't make your eyes cross or anything, but like the tip of the harpoon looks like it's just barely breaching the screen, and it's subtle, but it looks really cool. And then one of the Decepticons that tracks him down in that scene ends up fighting with him, and that whole in-the-air flight scene back and forth is pretty fun. After that, throughout the rest of the movie, you don't really see much action. Like I said, this isn't really much of an action film. It does have its action moments, but most of the movie is just centered around this young girl. Charlie is her name. And I would say you just see depth from then on. And it's not like It's not like crazy spectacular depth, but it's decent. It's not. It's a little bit better than hitting the auto conversion feature on your TV, but it's pleasant. It does add something extra to the movie. There are dark scenes in the movie that don't suffer from being. I don't know how I'm trying to say this. It doesn't. Sometimes when there are dark scenes, you see less of the depth. At least that's been my experience. But I didn't have that problem with this. The depth was consistent. There is one scene in the middle when the two Decepticons track Bumblebee to Earth, and when they crash land into like this diner in some redneck's car and cause a big explosion, and there are burning embers and stuff that look like they're floating out of the screen and into the middle of your room. That's probably the poppiest that it gets in the film, and that was pretty fun to watch. And then towards the end, that's probably when my second favorite part of 3D comes in. It's where Bumblebee is fighting the two Decepticons, and Charlie is trying to stop them from sending their transmission to the rest of the Decepticons. This scene is filled with excellent depth, tons of pop-outs, projectiles coming out, hand cannons popping out of the screen. Very, very nicely done. Cybertron in the beginning is still my favorite scene, though. I think mostly just because of all the colors that Cybertron has. It's a very beautiful looking, like cyberpunk. I was going to say Cybertron. Cyberpunk looking planet. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. But anyway, that's all I have. I'd say that I would give this one a B tier as far as the 3D goes. It wasn't perfect. And it definitely wasn't A tier. I think what would have given it A tier is if they would have done a better job on the depth throughout the middle half of the movie. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I'm not knocking it. I've seen worse, but I just feel like when I compare it to all the other Transformers movies that are in 3D, I think my bar was just set a little too high, maybe. But yeah, that's what I would have changed about it. You don't necessarily have to add pop-outs everywhere like some of the other Transformer movies do, but at least have like really, really excellent depth. And I felt like it was a little inconsistent here. But that's just my personal opinion. Do I think it's worth buying? Absolutely. If you haven't checked it out, I'll leave a link in the description. Turbine, company based out of Germany. They're producing 3D Blu-rays from Paramount, Universal, DreamWorks, Illumination. It takes them a while to get them, it seems like, and when they do drop them, they drop them in sets of 3. I believe you can purchase this one by itself, but they also have a pack of 3 that you can get, which I believe will save you money if you're interested in the other 2 movies that it comes with. I believe it comes with Transformers Rise of the Beasts and Sing 2, the animated movie. But anyway, I look forward to talking to you guys again. My next review will be on the sequel to this, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Take care, folks.